The other day I did that old PV1730 Panasonic VCR, 40 years old. Got it to play. I was quite surprised that I actually got the thing to play. And I did say that I would revisit this and we would take another look at it and see whether it was functional. I don't know if it records or anything. I know the tuner doesn't work. So I figured this time we'll take a look at this and see what else needs to be done, and maybe we'll get it going, maybe we won't, but we won't know until we try. Let's take a look. So I'm back on the 1730. This thing here has no audio out from the linear audio output. So we're going to try to see if we can figure that part out in this one, and then do a test recording on it. I'm not going to spend much time on this. This was just kind of a project because, well, it was broken. And I got it to the point where it's playing, and it's playing in color, and it's not looking too bad. That sound you hear, that's the take-up motor for the take-up spool. It's noisy. Don't know why. Don't care. Probably one of the Hall effect sensors is not working properly. That's more than likely what the problem is. If we looked at the other video when I took the motors apart, like, I don't know, 8 years ago or whenever it was I worked on it before, and showed you the coils. There's it's got 6 coils and 3 Hall effect sensors. It sounds like maybe one of the Hall effect sensors is not functional properly, and it's causing a bit of a problem as the motor rotates. Maybe 2 coils coming on at the same time and fighting against each other. But that's not the concern. I'd like to know why the linear audio is not working. And I think this is the wire that comes down from the head, control track, and left and right, maybe? I think this is probably it. Bias left, bias right. I'm pretty sure this wire comes down from the head. Let's just take a look and see. Yeah, it is. And this is what's interesting. When I bring my finger down here, it should be a lot louder than that, though. I'm having to actually touch to get anything, and it should be a lot louder than that. You can see on the meters here. Whoops. It'd help if I didn't turn it off. You can see on the meters here when I touch the I believe this is where they come up on the board here. Am I right or wrong? I don't hear it. This is the linear audio board. Something on this board. Now again, it's got this crap on here, this black tape that's holding stuff down, so perhaps we've got a short under here. I should just clear that crap off before I even spend any more time. I had a kick out of one of my viewers that saw the original video, commenting that he's got a GE and Sylvania version of the same machine, and his is sitting in the closet not being repaired. I really can't blame him. This was more done just for, you know, something fun to do when I was killing some time. And I thought since I had this thing, I would just get it up and running if I could. But I really, I don't have any use for it. Once I finish this, it's going to go back into storage and probably not be looked at again for a while. But I like the comment where he says that these they're too complicated to be reliable, and that was the case. And I have the same feeling of all older VHS machines, whether they're top loader or front loader. You know, there's something that you wouldn't want to use just because of the reliability of them. This was quite the engineering feat when they designed this unit, and this unit, as I explained in the comments, uses a drum that is different than every other drum. I can show you the bottom of the drum here. I'll flip the board out in a minute. There's no motor on the bottom of it. The actual drum itself is the motor. The head wheel, the upper cylinder, is the motor. This was used on this design and only this design. And the next year they changed it. Why anybody would want one of these machines like this that is just so mechanically and electrically complex is beyond me. If you want a VCR for archiving tapes or something, go find yourself a Funai. A late model Funai. You won't do any better than that. They had them down to like 3 LSI chips, and the mechanisms on them were so simple, they don't break down. You get all these discrete circuits like this one's got, and you just create yourself one big headache. I'm going to pick all this off. I'm going to do this off camera because it's going to take me a few minutes, but we'll see whether once I get all this crap, because you can see the stuff is just almost turned to a powder, and it becomes electrically conductive, and I'm wondering if that's why my audio is not working for the linear audio, because I mean this is a pretty simple circuit, and it's just like a tape recorder. Basically it's like a cassette deck with Dolby, so it's exactly like a cassette deck, and yet I've got no sound, and I should, because there's nothing to the circuit. What I have determined is it's a muting problem. If I just put my finger on here, one channel and the other channel, the chips are being held in mute. Why they're being held in mute, that I don't know. Whether it's a capacitor that's gone bad or a resistor that's gone open, but the chips are being held in mute. They're being pulled up to mute somehow. I'm gonna have to see if I can find a manual for this to trace the muting circuit. I'm actually not that worried about that right at this particular moment in time. I want to see if this thing records. So I'm going to set it up with a record source. I know the tuner doesn't work, but I'm going to set up, I'll get a blank tape in here that I can record on. We'll throw some color bars into it and throw some audio in, and I want to see if it records. And I say this is not going to be a very long video because the last one was really long. I just want to see what else might be wrong with this thing, and then we can plan for a third installment if there's enough interest in it. I like this. Check this out. You'd think this is a fine watch or something. Number of joules, 0. Got a kick out of that. Found an old tape. This tape would have a gazillion miles on it. This was used in my time-lapse recorder back in the day. You can see all the wear on this tape. This tape has been abused, as you can see. It has plenty of wear on here, and it's got my time-lapse recorder from way back. Yeah, this is a tape. This was recorded on what's called a real-time 24-hour. So it would record 24 hours on a T120 tape, and I used to run T160s or 180s or even T200s through it and get like 30 or 40 hours on a tape. If I play it in regular speed, it just kind of flies by like that. That's playing it in probably SP, but it was recorded at a real slow speed. You can play it back on any VCR or play it back on the machine that made the recording, and you play it back in slow-mo. Put it in search. So you can search through a tape pretty quick. I tell you, this was the real acid test for tape. Was recording as time-lapse, 2 frames per second. There I am, heading out. I think this must have been a Sunday, a day that I wasn't working. Or I was heading out to an afternoon appointment. This is 20 years ago. Oh, just getting something out, getting my jacket on. I guess it was raining. Looks like the road's wet. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting on my jacket. I'm heading out to have my jacket in my truck. That was my old Ford Exploder. Why do we call it an Exploder? Well, the engine. It at only about 185,000 kilometers, one of the exhaust valves decided to just burn up. I'm going to make a recording at all 3 speeds. I'm going to record color bars. We'll start out in SP and just record this music onto this tape. And I'll just record for maybe a minute. I just want to see if it makes a recording and if it records in hi-fi and so forth. And we'll see how well the color bars play back. So right now this is how they look going on to tape. So as you can see, the color bars are about perfect. I'll switch it down to LP and record some LP recording now, and then we'll do an SLP. Okay, we'll just rewind the tape and play it back. And see if it actually made a recording, first of all. Don't know if it records or not. We'll find out. Well, it does indeed record. Not recording very well, that's for sure. Probably the tape. We'll try a different tape. This tape is pretty badly worn. I'm just making a recording. This is a T30 and it's telling me there's 30 minutes remaining. If I switch the speed down to LP, it tells me there's 1 hour remaining. And if I switch it down to SLP, it should say 1.5 hours. Okay, we'll try playing this tape back. This is a new tape this time. First time I tried an old tape. This one was a tape that had nothing recorded on it, so we'll see how this one fares. If it fares any better than the other one. And see if this thing actually does make a recording or does not. And it does make a recording. It makes a terrible recording. It's not recording. Hi-fi sound. Yeah, so I mean, it's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't think I'm going to go any further on this machine, to tell you guys the truth. I just wanted to see if I could make it play back. That I did. I did make it play back, but as you can see, the recording is just, it's bad. There's going to be more capacitors bad in this thing for sure. And there lies the problem with these, back to the SP speed there. There lies the problem with these old beaters of machines. They were not that reliable when they were new, and 40 years later, they're just junk. Hate to say it. Kind of a novelty. It's kind of a neat old machine because it is old. Now what? It does not want to release my tape. Oh, there we go. Kind of a novelty because they're old, but again, they were not very high performance back in the days. The early days of VHS weren't great. I should show you guys the drum on this. Do you guys want to see what the drum on this looks like? Because you've never seen one of these before. If I can pull it apart, I will. Just for shits and giggles. We'll pull the top off of this cap off if I can. Yeah, it's an electric screwdriver. Get over it. That top cover comes off. Oh, look at that. Look at the little design that's on there. Cool. And then retaining ring should come off. I forget how I took it off before. I might not be able to get this one off because I had a special tool for it. But there's a retaining ring on the top here that you can remove, and then the whole rotary transformer and everything will just lift apart. That brass piece you see there, that is the rotary transformer. You can see where the wires go down the side of it there. That is it. It's along the center. It's not under the head wheel or under the disc as conventional or newer machines are. This one, it was actually right there on that brass piece. And it's the only VCR that I know of that did it this way. This is the rotary transformer, this piece right here in the middle. And this actually holds it up. That's part of the bearing right there. That sits right on top of that. I can't get this apart. I don't want to damage it, so we're going to say thanks for watching. We might pick this up down the road and try a third one.